My name is Mira. I am decluttering my house, starting with my living room, and we have now reached this bookcase here that is in the corner. And I've got lots of little bits and bobs that need to go elsewhere. But before we do that, we're gonna clean behind this love seat here. Of course, we have water bottles. There's mail, there's a toilet paper roll, and I don't know why that's there. Actually, I do know why that's there. My little poodle Clayton probably brought it out. If they aren't thrown away or immediately taken out of reach, he will make off with them. And while I'm here, why not clean off the windowsill? Look at all that dirt. There was also a little cord sitting up there, so that's going in my bag of cords. I need to go through those and figure out what they belong to, but that's a problem for future me. Now here I found this little wood block with the word free on it. That was my word of the year several years ago. Maybe 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. I'm going to donate that. So now it's time to mop behind here and mop on this side too. And I gotta clear the water bottles from under that little end table. Yep, there were several of those. There's never going to be a room that doesn't have a water bottle in it. Shout out to Aquafina. I'm still willing to do that sponsorship. All right, now we are here at the beautiful bookcase. And it's time to clean it up. Look how dusty it is. It's so dusty. All right, I have got one of my trusty totes, and that's what I am tossing things into. Here is an old tablet. Haven't decided what I'll do with it. It still works fine, except it charges very, very slowly. So I will figure that out. I'll probably just donate it or sell it or something. That is a picture of Clay from when he was a puppy. I know the photography company that took that picture uses that still in some of their promotional material, so it's really cool. Now I am wiping down all of that dust because, whew, so much dust. And I took a peek while I was in that lower section, and the only thing there was the wrapper for an eyeglass cleaner. All right, so my initial thought was to turn this shelf into kind of a memorial shelf to those I've lost. My dad a few years ago. This is from my paternal grandmother. All of these little figures, except for the teeny tiny one, which is from my dad. And as I started putting them out, I just felt like this wasn't the right place for them. First of all, I didn't like the difference in scale between the grandma's figurines and the one from my dad. Like, his is really tiny, and I didn't like it. I think a smaller shelf will be better for this, and maybe a separate one for each set. I don't know. So I'm going to put them back and figure that out on another day. Now I'm thinking maybe I should move pictures down to this particular level, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm sorting through stuff on the top, and I'm really sorry that I'm not showing what what is up there, but it was a few photos, and a couple of random things, because we all know how I like to put random things on shelves. And since things have gotten so dusty over here, I am going to go ahead and take the frames apart and wipe down everything. I've just got to get all of the glass, not just part of it. I'm finding more photos. I'm clearing off this shelf as well. Now, this shelf has held a random Deadpool knickknack, a random remote. I'm not actually sure what that remote goes to, but I will investigate and find out. I've also got a display for my scrapbook pages, and I've decided that since I just have a hard time getting over to this corner, I'm going to remove that and put it somewhere else. Now, the reason that I had a hard time getting to this corner was, of course, because of Clutter Mountain and Clutter Corner. Now that that's gone, I should be able to access it more easily, but I still feel like it'll just be easier if it's in a more accessible place. So I'm going to just kind of rearrange some of these shelves. That middle shelf was very high to accommodate the scrapbook display, but since I'm moving that, I'm going to just reshuffle the shelves. I started to wipe down the glass while it was in the frame, and then I decided no, it would be smarter to go ahead and just take the whole thing apart so that I make sure all the glass gets clean and there's no dust or anything. Now, this is a picture of Chris Evans as Captain America, and this is from one of my friends who gave it to me. I love Captain America. He's my favorite superhero. And I mean, Sam is great as Captain America too, but I just really love the OG. This is autographed by Chris Evans and is a prized part of my autograph collection, which is yet another collection of mine. And you'll see more of that when I get to my scrapbook room, because they're in one of the boxes in there, I believe. Now, this frame has an issue. I need to figure out how to replace that back if I can. But anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to lean it up against something. But this is a picture of Cupid, and it was taken at the same time that the picture of Clay was taken. So he was a young, spry guy too. I got those pictures taken at a Humane Society fundraiser. They had a photographer come in and take pictures, and then they would donate the picture amount that they received to the Humane Society, which was cool. I got Clay as a puppy, but Cupid I got when he was 2, and I got him at the Humane Society. He's an old man now, but I'm doing my best to make his twilight years good ones. Clay is technically an older dog as well, but he's still quite spry and does little play bows to get me to come out of the bathroom faster. Oh, that little cutie. My inspector. I'm doing a thorough wipe down and letting the glass and the frame dry after I do it. So I want to make sure that it's not wet when I put the picture back in, because yikes. I thought I'd go ahead and bring the pictures down to the bottom shelf. So they seem kind of lost on the top one. That's what I was thinking at the time. And now it's time to shift the shelves. Trying to figure out how to make sure that I have enough room for the pictures. And just adjusting that. And I figured I might as well adjust the top shelf now to make them spaced more evenly. But again, I want to make sure that there's enough room for my little collectibles. So these are my little doctors. There are 3 doctors from Doctor Who. There is the second, played by Patrick Troughton. And what I'm working on now is the 5th Doctor, who is Peter Davison. And I'm just trying to get the dust off because, yeah, they were dusty. So I couldn't find that little lint roller that I found in one of my previous episodes, but I went ahead and thought some tape would probably work fine too. And yeah, that did help. It did help somewhat. And they're on these cute little stands. And I'm just going to wipe down the stands. I wish I could say that I made these, but I didn't. I got them at a local comic convention, and one of the vendors had them. And one time I went, I bought the 2nd and the 5th Doctor, and the 3rd, or the next time I went, I bought this one, which is the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. And he's also the 14th Doctor. But that's another story. There was some tape or something on his stand, and I got some of it off, but not all of it. I'm going to have to see if maybe some undo or something will help, or I know I've got a scraper somewhere. That's a common phrase in my house. I know I've got X, fill in the blank, somewhere. Oh, shoot. But that's what this is all about, right? Is figuring out where all of these things are. Once I declutter, I'll have homes for everything. Yeah, I really wanted to collect them all. It'd be like Pokemon, I guess, but when I went back to the convention a 3rd time, I couldn't find that vendor. And I even went online to try and find them, but I did not have any luck. So I've got my top 3 favorites. If I had to pick my absolute favorite, it would be the 2nd Doctor, Patrick Troughton. I really just loved his combination of a little bit rough at moments, but also very, very sweet at others. I like my doctors a little bit edgy. And I definitely had to give him a good cleanup because his hair was not salt and peppery. The way that it looked before the tape, that dust gave it a graying look, which he did not have on the show. Oh, I need to watch The 5 Doctors again. That's fun. It's always great fun to see when the doctors come across each other because they always are so judgmental about the other doctors. Which is actually themselves, but yeah, it's always amusing. So it's time to put these back together. I've got Captain America next to my dogs. And then I started thinking, what am I going to put on that 3rd shelf? I'm running through my collections in my mind. I didn't think this would be a good place for the autograph collection. I have too many to display them well. I have some figures. I have the boxed figures that I grabbed off of this shelf, but I don't know if I want to display them out here. I don't know. I just feel like boxed figures are not very aesthetically pleasing, I guess. It's more to preserve how much, the value of the piece. So then I was like, okay, here's where I goofed up. when I must have nudged something when I was getting around that tripod, and now it's like an uber close up. So what I did was I bought some seasonal things. Now I haven't had seasonal decor in quite a while because it has just become clutter to me. I decided I was going to go ahead though, and I thought, you know, one shelf, I can do one shelf. I should be able to just store some seasonal items in a tub in one of my closets. So that's what I'm gonna do. I was originally thinking I would put the seasonal decor on the top shelf, but when I returned after my little shopping trip, there was sun shining on the photos, and I cannot have that because that will fade the photos. And so the photos went back up to the top shelf, and look at me, I'm using a box. You couldn't see the hello sign very well, so I propped it up on a box. Here we and now here's the after. Still have not decided what I'm going to put in those bottom shelves. And then as I'm doing the after, I remembered that I didn't do anything with those. So I'm going to grab these curtains. Now they were the original curtains that were here when I moved in the living room, and I didn't like the color. So I'm going to donate those. And I'm going to move Bearded Captain America somewhere else. I don't know. Steve Rogers with a beard just hits different. And one of my friends knew that, so she got that for me, which was really sweet. There's also a signed poster of a poem by Neil Gaiman. And I think all of the pictures are probably going to be the last to go up once I figure out my room situation, where everything else is going to go. Alright, so next up, or coming soon, let's put it that way. Coming soon we have this bookcase, which has a water bottle on it. I love it. And also coming soon, I'm not sure which order these videos will go in, but the start of the kitchen. This is the Great Pyramid right here. See you soon.